Hey guys, good morning from Aswan train station. I'm taking the morning train to Luxor, but I think I got here too early. There's hardly anyone on the platform. There weren't too many people on the train. We made a few stops along the way, and after about 3 hours, I arrived in Luxor. Hi friends, I've just finished The Invention of Morel, and I think I'm in the perfect place to talk about it because right now I'm staying on this cute little island in the Nile. And it feels like the perfect setting for an island story. The ending of the book completely took me by surprise, and I feel like I have to go back to the beginning to read it again, perhaps, because there were so many little details that I didn't pay much attention to at first that actually turned out to be some important foreshadowing. For example, the very first line of the story, "Today on this island, the miracle happened. Summer came ahead of time." Well, at first, I thought it was just some weather description, but it is not. And I won't spoil anything because I think this is one of those books where the less you know, the better. But if you want to know a little bit more about it, you can check out my last video where I gave a slightly more detailed introduction, still without many spoilers, since I hadn't read the most important twist of the story yet. And I'll probably do a full book review on it later, but for now, I just want to say this is perhaps one of the best books that I read this year, and I think it actually can be read in many different ways, which is probably why Borges compared it to The Turn of the Screw. Like, you can certainly read it as a love story, but it's also a meditation on mortality, on metaphysics, and on the very nature of existence, like whether everything we know, even ourselves, might be nothing more than phantoms. And like in The Turn of the Screw, the book has an unreliable narrator. Like, you can never be completely sure whether what he describes is really happening or just his imagination or even a hallucination. And very interestingly, there are some editor's notes here and there pointing out that the narrator might be mistaken at times or that parts of his manuscript were edited out. And I kept wondering who this editor is. It really blurs the line between reality and fiction. Okay, back to reality. I think I'm going to take a walk on this island and I'm going to the Luxor temple at night. I arrived at Luxor Temple just before sunset. This is one of the few temples that stays open after dark, so I guess a lot of people want to see it at night, just like me. I think the lighting makes the massive statues and columns look even more dramatic. Construction of the temple spanned several reigns. It was dedicated to the Theban god Amun, along with his consort Mut and their son Khonsu. But more than that, it celebrated the divine power of the pharaohs themselves. Like the massive statues at the entrance depict Ramesses II as a deified ruler. The next morning, I visited Karnak Temple. It's said to be one of the largest temple complexes ever built. And walking among these towering columns, I couldn't help but think of that scene from Death of the Nile. There's something timeless about this place, as if the temple itself exists outside of time. I had lunch at a really cute little restaurant. We ended up being the only guests, but the food was absolutely delicious. And after lunch, I took a ferry to the west bank of the Nile and visited Habu Temple. I had originally planned to go to the Valley of the Kings first, but it was just too hot that day and the traffic in Luxor was a bit chaotic, so I decided to skip it and head straight to Habu Temple. This is the mortuary temple of Ramesses III and is incredibly well preserved. Like many of the carvings on the walls and columns still retain their vivid colors. It's also much less crowded than other sites, so I could take my time and really soak it all in. For dinner, I went to a seafood restaurant right on the bank of the Nile. I tried a seafood tagine and grilled sea bass, but they also gave me this green soup. I'm not sure what it was, but it tasted kind of strange. And this tomato dish that turned out to be really spicy, I couldn't even believe it. Afterwards, I took a stroll along the river and stumbled upon a little bookstore. Such a lovely surprise. That wraps up my short stay in Luxor. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.